Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Hey everyone, I hope that you're having a fantastic day and you are ready for today's program. So for those of you who don't know, today on the show we have none other than Catalyst Case. If you haven't heard of them, well, hey, you're in luck, because if you need any kind of case for a phone, smartwatch, really any electronic that, let's face it, you are pouring a lot of money into, the best thing you can do for yourself is to protect your investment. So we're going to be talking to a representative from Catalyst Case here in just a moment. But before we do that, first things first, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including show notes, links to any products that we talk about, any videos that we show later when we do computer and technology news, any articles that we mention, anything like that can be found at Computer America. While you're there, we have a new article up, just went up just yesterday, I believe, and that has to do with the 5 scariest things in technology, and hopefully it doesn't scare you too bad, but hey, it's worth a read anyways. There's also the podcast, the video archive, all that kind of thing. Anything that we do with Computer America you can find at computeramerica.com. So, again, everyone out there, I hope that you're doing well and you are ready for some Computer America. Why don't we just go ahead, bring on our guest, and get this show started. So, Catalyst Case, they've been on the show before, and I'm very happy, whenever they come on. I believe we saw them out at CES a couple of years ago, and looking forward to, hopefully meeting them out there again this year. But overall, hey, when it comes to Catalyst Case, I think we wrote a review, I want to say about 2 years ago, calling it the best damn phone case out there. And, I've always been a fan of their products. Very, very well made. And, hey, let's talk about, what's changed this year. So, everyone, welcome on to the show, Ms. Chris Herbert. And she is the PR manager for Catalyst. And, Chris, how you doing? Welcome on to Computer America.
Good, Ben. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. And I remember that article, and it was awesome. And we still use it when we put up trade show booths, and the best quotes from media about our products. Yours is right up there. It was fantastic.
I'm glad you liked it, and of course, just kind of heads up for everyone. You guys were gracious enough to send over some samples, and we are working on I guess you could call it like a smartphone case roundup. So, Catalyst is definitely going to be featured in that. We'll be sure to send it over your way. But everyone out there, if you're listening, check back in probably the next couple of days, and we'll have that up on the website as well. But we have you here now, and thank you for coming on the show again. Why don't we go ahead and start with the most obvious thing. Last Wednesday, if anyone was listening to last Wednesday's show, we had Google on the program, and they were on talking about everything that they announced last Tuesday at the Made by Google event, where they unveiled the new Pixel 4 phone. And of course, they had a couple other things. You should definitely go back and check out the show. But with with the Pixel 4 coming out, Catalyst did not waste any time in releasing a phone case. And obviously, I'm sure that Google has some kind of system or some kind of way to give you guys the specs. So as soon as the phones hit the shelf, they can go off and grab a case. Tell us about what changed, what's new, and just tell us about building a case for the Pixel 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're really excited to release the Pixel 4 and the 4 XL. It was our first partnership with Google to release a phone or a case for their line of phones. Typically, we've been very heavy in the Apple space, and we, over the last year and a half, have branched out into Android. And this is our first partnership with Google. Yes, we do have information from them before they release the phone, so we're able to build the cases to spec. The impact protection cases are a lot easier to build to spec than our waterproof cases. We offer the impact protection cases for the new Google series, the 4 and the 4 XL, and those are some of the toughest cases and been tested over and over by third-party reviewers and press, and they have a drop rating of almost 10 feet, but we know they perform way higher than that. The design is awesome. It's slim. It adds a ton of protection to the phone without adding a lot of bulk. And a couple of the key features are the back is clear, so you're still able to show off the style or color of your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a toggle switch for your mute button, which is proprietary to us. We created that design. And the cases are a great seller for us in the impact protection space.
So why, and I guess this would be kind of obvious, but for everyone out there who maybe just buys a phone case for, let's just say, scratch protection or, just everyday living,
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think people should be interested in maybe upgrading themselves to impact resistant? Like, I'm sure that the phones themselves are rated for, anywhere from 3-4 feet. Why the added protection of an impact case?
People are not gentle with their phones, and phones are not cheap. And so when you're paying $800, $900, $1,100 for a phone, to add the level of drop protection for $40 that allows you to not have to ever worry about coddling your phone and really being able to take it wherever you go without worry. And that's kind of our the story behind our design. Our founders are rock climbers by hobby, and
Mm-hmm.
they have been doing it for 2 decades. So they developed the protection for their devices initially, starting with the iPhone 4 when it was out, to be able to take their devices in rugged areas and not have to worry about breaking them, but be able to use them and capture their adventures and take their phones and use them as guiding tools and those type of things. Not everybody needs that level of protection, but the fact that they know that our cases will withstand those kind of conditions and those kind of drops and falls and really abuse, that they know that their everyday, mishaps or just everyday use of their phones, no matter what their environment is, that they're going to be protected.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt when one of the first waterproof cases that I got was actually a Catalyst waterproof case, and I'm no longer near the ocean. The closest public pool is 10 miles away. And the point is, there's no real bodies of water that I have to concern myself with, but I felt a lot better getting a waterproof case, because if I had to, turn off an alarm while I was in the shower, or if I did what I think millions of Americans do every year, and that is drop their phone in the toilet or something, I just didn't really have to worry about if I, grabbed my phone with with a wet hand, or if I spilled something on my phone. I felt like having, shock and, impact proof cases is great. I felt really, really good having a waterproof case on top of it. I can completely understand how someone out there may be thinking that's a little excessive. But one thing I think you could also point out, Chris, or speak to, is how much it really adds to the phone, because that is the other, where maybe the main argument against phone cases like these is that people complain it adds too much to the phone, too much bulk, too much weight, makes it unwieldy. You've really made this kind of tight to the phone.
Absolutely. So our waterproof cases specifically, they're going to add a little bit of bulk to the phone. They're completely 360 enclosed cases that provide like crazy protection for the phone. They're 33 feet waterproof, first of all, which you're not going to need, but that's 5 times more water protection than any other everyday case on the market. And so when you talk about just being able to do your thing, whether it's go on vacation or spend time in the pool with your family, or, I spent 6 hours in the pool this summer with my kids, and we were taking videos and photos underwater, and we had the phone in the pool almost the entire time, and I never thought twice about it. And that's the comfort and the confidence that we want people to have, that your device is such a big part of your everyday life that we want to make sure that you don't have to worry about using it, whatever you're doing. But the waterproof piece, like I said, it's 33 feet waterproof, and it doesn't add a lot of bulk to your phone. The other piece is, and this is something that we started to really message early on, is that you can actually hear through our phones. When we first really came to market in the U.S., which is about 4 or 5 years ago, one of the biggest complaints about waterproof cases were, that's great, but I can't hear out of them. They're designed in a way where they muffle your phone and you can't hear calls. Our proprietary acoustic technology, which is funny for me to say because it's a marketing term, but really our cases are designed to be able to hear clearly out of them and still get the level of protection of a waterproof case. The other piece, that toggle switch, was really designed for the waterproof cases and is kind of carried out throughout our case line. The older or competitors' waterproof cases of years back, they had kind of a tab on the side that unveiled your mute switch. Well, the more you use that, the looser it got, and then it would tear, and now your phone's not waterproof anymore. So the toggle switch is a solution to that, and something our designers created, and it's really a differentiator in our design, as is the acoustic design. Hello? Ben?
I'm sorry. Hi, Chris. Oh, yeah, sir. Sure. Sorry about that. So I'm going to restart my question, and we'll just continue on. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so as you mentioned before, you worked almost exclusively with with Apple and protecting Apple products and things like that. You mentioned that you just started moving into the Android field, and I think that the Pixel line, while definitely a great line of phone, Google has a habit of discontinuing certain products and services. So I think the Google line of products has lasted longer than I think a lot of people thought it would. They're not the most popular. I think Samsung and certain LG phones and things like that. There's a lot of different kinds of phones. The great thing about Apple is that they come out with like 3 different models, and that's it for 2 years. Android phones in general, you have a lot more phones to design for. How has that kind of been? Like, are you saying it? I don't want to say is it worth it, because I think Android people they still spend hundreds of dollars on their phone. They still want to protect that investment as well. Just has that been, I guess, kind of interesting for you guys?
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually, and it's why we only offer the waterproof cases for Apple. The impact protection cases are a much easier design to replicate quickly for the release of phones and fit to phone specs and produce quickly. So we've really taken that line. We started it with Apple, and it went over really well. And so then we started to replicate it with Samsung, starting with the 9 Galaxy and the Note 9, going into the Galaxy 10 series, and then with the Google Pixel. So it's a case that provides a high level of protection, but from a design perspective, is easier for us to get out quickly. The waterproof case is a whole different story, and it's why we've stuck with Apple, because we can't do that many cases or that many manufacturers and do it right. It takes about 4 months of rigorous testing after the phone comes out, because we have to have the phone in hand and test and test and test, and it cannot be within a hair off of the specs, because then it can leak, and then that reflects on the brand.
Yeah.
We have done one waterproof case for Apple since the 4, and we have heightened the design over the years. So when we first, with the 5s, the 4s, the 5s, and the 6s, it was 6.6 feet waterproof, which was standard for the industry. Now it's 33 feet waterproof. And so we've enhanced the design over the years, but haven't ventured outside of Apple for exactly the reasons that you're talking about. Is one, it's hard to keep up. If it takes us 4 months to test and get the case out, they're coming out with a new phone already. And so it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense for us. We would rather do the water cases for Apple and do them right.
So you might have scared some people there. I would definitely want to clarify something. You mentioned it takes months to design these things and make sure that they are, up to snuff. But
right.
You can get the cases out as the phones come out. Like your cases are not available 4 months after, let's say, the Pixel comes out. You can get these things today, right?
Well, those are impact protection. That's totally different.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not the waterproof.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't make waterproof for Pixel or Samsung. We just make the impact protection cases, and those are available now.
Okay.
But with the waterproof cases specifically, those take months of testing, and it's why we only do the waterproof cases for Apple.
Although I did know, and I don't know if you, let's see. So, and I'm just looking at some of your other products because we've been talking about phones up until now. You also have a waterproof and impact proof for iPads as well, which seems pretty interesting. I mean, here's my question with that. I'm sure that you do market research. I'm sure that you ask folks, who buy your cases. Protecting, let's say, an iPad Pro, great, or an iPad Air, great. But I kind of get this feeling that what people expect from a phone case may differ from from a tablet case, because a tablet case may need to be more function than protection, or I guess equal parts protection and functional. Have you kind of So how have you approached that with the iPad case?
Well, first of all, we're the only ones that make the waterproof iPad case for the that size iPads, the 11 and the 12.9 iPad Pro. The reason is because no one else can figure out how to have that kind of design and protection and still keep the functionality our designers have. And that's what's key to what you just said, is you don't lose function. The market is different for who buys the iPad cases. And so, folks that are heavy travelers, families. I will tell you, I have 3 boys, and before I worked for Catalyst, which has been 4 years ago, we went through 2 iPads pretty quickly. One fell and busted on the kitchen tile floor, the other one on the way to the car in the garage. Those are $1,000.
Yeah.
I'm not replacing an iPad just because my kids are clumsy. And as parents, we go, oh, yeah, here, take the iPad. Go, play your game, watch YouTube Kids or whatever you're doing. But you're giving a child a $1,000 device, and they've got sticky hands, and they've got dirty fingers, and they've got all those things. Ever since I started working with Catalyst, all our devices at home are protected. I don't care where they take them. They take them to school. They take them to the pool. They take them to their friend's house. I don't care what they're eating or drinking because I can just take them to the sink, wipe them off, wash them with soap and water, and give it back to them. If you take my iPad out of the cases now, and I still have like the original Air 2s, they look brand new. The ones before that were duct taped. I mean, there's different markets for different products, but they're also big with the outdoors crew and the heavy travel crew, people that like to camp or spend a lot of time outdoors or by water. I mean, these are completely protective cases for your iPad line.
Yeah, and that's something that, somewhere in the middle of that duct tape iPad versus an iPad that looks brand new, a lot of people, either trade in or sell their device, before they get a new device or after they get a new device to kind of recoup some of the cost. And I'm sure it would be very easy for someone to go out there and look at, a number of the websites that will do trade-ins or buy your devices. I'm wondering if at the end of a product life cycle, after 2 or 3 years, the price difference between a like new or as new or something that's been very well protected and cared for, I'm wondering what the price difference is for something that is in fair condition. I think is what they call the lowest condition out there. Maybe a cracked screen, maybe some water damage. I'm wondering if that difference is the price of a Catalyst case, because your cases are not that expensive.
No, they range anywhere between $99 for the mini waterproof to I think $170 or $80 for the largest, which is the 12.9. And I'm not sure about the resale value, but for me, it's the length of time that your iPad lasts and is in good condition. And so if I have an iPad for 4 or 5 years because it's been in a Catalyst case, that's and as opposed to having to buy a new one after 2 years, I'm okay with that.
No, and of course iPads included, but I was also thinking about phones on top of that.
For sure.
Where maybe even just an impact case would do you, and that would keep your phone looking like new for, let's say, 3 years. Maybe a $40 impact case is the difference between an extra $100, $200 when you trade it in. So.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I actually cringe when I see people that come up to us at shows and show me their phone, and it looks like a dog chewed on them. And the phone is not even that old, and their screens are cracked, and their corners are chewed. And it's so disheartening. And then they look at our phones, and, they're all pristine because they've been in cases and in the right cases for as long as we've had them.
Absolutely. I mean, there is that... The classic phone screen crack that's just like a spider web all over everything, and it's like even just like not even about resale value, not even about how it looks, just actually using it. I'm always afraid people are going to cut up their fingers or hurt themselves. It's definitely not a safe place to be, and everyone I know, I encourage them that the first thing that they do is get a phone case. Any phone case will do you at the start, but then when it comes to functionality, something like a Catalyst, it may cost like 2 or 3 or 4 times more than the really cheap only plastic kind of meant for like setting on the table, but really they're worth it because that rubber really does make a difference. Something else I wanted to mention, because Catalyst does sell them. Talk about the use case and the importance of screen protectors.
So that's interesting because it depends on which cases that you use. Our waterproof cases, actually you cannot use a screen protector with them because it lifts the case enough where we can't guarantee the functionality if you have a screen protector on your phone. So we do not recommend screen protectors with any of our waterproof cases. Mm-hmm. We do make them and sell them with as a add-on to our impact protection cases. However, the design of the impact protection case is built to not need a screen protector. So I will tell you that I've had the impact protection, I have the 10, and I've had the impact protection case on without a screen protector for a year. At CES in 2019, we were part of a live, let's try to break your phone with the top 10 cases kind of deal. And this CNET actually dropped our phone. The rules were you're not allowed to use anything that doesn't come in the box, and we were the only ones that didn't have a screen protector. They dropped the XR impact protection case with the phone in it from 20 feet on a cracked tile floor, and the XR was not scratched in the catalyst case. And then they dropped a 2.5-pound ball bearing on the back on a cracked tile floor, face down. And we were one of the only ones that survived, and we were the only one without a screen protector. So I have the confidence to put my phone in my pocket or my purse, or take it to my office, or do whatever I do with it every day, because I saw what it can withstand, and that's well beyond the protection that we promote from a marketing standpoint. So they're designed really well, and they don't need a screen protector. But scratches happen, and definitely have one if you feel better. But
I'm actually very happy that you mentioned that, because I have never ran into that issue when I put in a screen protector and a waterproof case, but I can see how that would be very good to know beforehand. But I always encourage people with screen protectors, kind of like as a first layer defense, and then just a really good phone case. But like you said, I don't know many people who are dropping 2-pound ball bearings on their phones every day. That's just not going to happen all that often. So, and actually, one more product I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, because when you think about Apple Watches, there's not a lot of wiggle room there. Like the Apple Watch is the Apple Watch. I'm surprised you have a case for that. How? I guess.
Yeah. Again, that's a space. The waterproof case. We're the only ones with a waterproof case for the Apple Watch. It's actually been a really great product for us. They are 330 feet waterproof, so they're dive ready. Now your watch doesn't even work at 330 feet. But if you are active, whether you're snorkeling or diving or on vacation, again, you don't need to take your watch to 330 feet, but you can. So it's that confidence in the level of protection. So it's interesting, because when Apple comes out with a new watch, a lot of times our impact protection cases for the watch, which are actually very slim and again with a raised beveled edge on the face of the phone, they're extremely protective, and you can switch out the bands to different colors, and so you show off your style a little bit. They hardly add any bulk to the case, and they're really good looking cases. Those are a lot of times backwards compatible. So in other words, the 5 impact protection case is backwards compatible with the 4. So you can interchange that. But Apple changed the specs like by 0.04 millimeters or something for the 5. So that's a new waterproof case for us. You can't use the 4 again, because it has to be perfect. You maintain full functionality with the use of the waterproof case, which is great. It adds a little bit of bulk, but it is a rugged case. It is a true rugged case for your phone, for your watch.
Right. I'm so sorry that they changed it by 0.04 millimeters. Certainly just throws a big wrench in the whole thing. And I have to say, kind of one last question for you. When it comes to, phone cases, there's everything from, brands you've never heard of, and brands that if you come back next year, they won't be there. Phone case companies, come in and out every year. They can go anywhere from like $3, out there to, way over $100, $150, $200 just for phone cases, let alone other products. Why Catalyst over, some of your competitors?
For all the reasons that we've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. And so the level of protection you get with Catalyst is higher than any other everyday case on the market. That's waterproof, that's impact protection. And then the differentiators, like the impact protection case is slimmer and the design is a sleeker, more modern design and doesn't sacrifice the protection. Little things like the lanyard and the toggle switch and the acoustic. It's the design. Catalyst is not just a case company. They are an innovation and design company. They've actually created the categories for a lot of these cases and then still lead the market in them. So in spring of 2017, Catalyst actually created the category for AirPods cases. We are still the only waterproof, drop-proof AirPods case. There's been a ton of companies that have come out with their own designs since. And I'll never forget when we first came out with them. It was an innovation by Catalyst. One of the first articles that came out, there was a lot of great articles, but one of the first articles that came out was said, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen." And then
high praise.
Right. And then they exploded and everybody was coming out with either a knockoff or another design, whether it was leather or, whatever the following designs are, but Catalyst was the first to design. And it's the same thing with the waterproof cases for the iPads. It's the same thing with the waterproof cases for the watches. And we're still the only ones on the market because people can't replicate the design and do it right. So that's why you choose Catalyst, because nobody else designs for confidence like we do.
Very, very well said. And if people want to find out more, obviously we're going to have a link to catalystcase.com in the show notes over at Computer America. But are your products available, kind of where you buy phones, malls? Where do you position your products?
It depends on the product. So they're all available on Amazon and on catalystcase.com. But then depending on where you are and what you want to buy, our AirPods cases are available in Apple, Best Buy, Target, specialty stores. So if you search online, you'll be able to find what you need.
Very, very, very simple. So, Chris, I want to thank you so much for coming on Compute America. It's been a couple of years, but I definitely appreciate you taking the time. And like I said earlier, I hope that we see you out at CES this year.
We will be there. I'll send you all the information.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And again, if you want to find out more, catalystcase.com. Chris, thank you so much.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon, Ben. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, everyone, and there she goes. So obviously, Catalyst Case, great guest. Always love having them on. And like I said, if you want to find out more, computeramerica.com, and we'll have a link in the show notes. And one last time, another throwback. We have a number of their cases. We're going to be trying them out. We're going to be, doing some hands-on testing. And hey, we're going to put an article, either a standalone or in kind of like a roundup. I don't know. We'll decide because, hey, we've gotten our hands on a number of cases, but of course, Catalyst always seems to stand out. So with that being said, everyone, let's go ahead and continue on as we do computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. Here we go. Where to start? How about we talk about, I have two stories right off the top that I think a lot of people are going to be very interested in. And the very first one is a company I'm sure you've heard of. They've been on the show before. They've, this is not kind of like a neener, look at this, look how the mighty have fallen. No, this is more of a, even if you try to do everything right, and I still think that this company is a very good company, in the area of VPN. Even if you do everything right, nothing is completely secure, so don't worry about it. This one is an article from Infosec, Infosec, Irish.com. So weird one, but it was just the most available one that talks about this, and we'll talk about in general. But NordVPN finally admits that it was hacked, saying that it finally reveals a data breach 7 months after it happened. So a couple of things here. First of all, like I said, I think NordVPN still makes a quality product. I'm not bashing them. I don't think that, you should be flocking away from the company. Is this a bad thing? Absolutely. Is the timeliness of it all a bit concerning? Absolutely, as it should be for anyone who fails to alert their users that they've been compromised, for 7 months. But let's go ahead and get into the details and talk about this, because I really want to hammer this home. Just because you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, communications are not a sure thing. VPNs are not a master password. They can still be compromised. So, and this is just one of them. So NordVPN is one of the virtual private networks providers based in Panama. Panama, yes, of course, doesn't have to obey any kind of international law. So there you go. Researchers disclosed that one of the exit nodes of its networks was hacked. Exit node is part of the service that masks a user IP. NordVPN claims a zero log policy. We don't track, collect, or share your private data. It's none of our business. And that is what NordVPN says on their website, which is really their claim to fame. They really don't track your traffic, because other VPNs out there, they will reroute your traffic to another server based somewhere else. And that's all well and good, but a lot of the free ones and a lot of the, obviously the non-paid or the very inexpensive ones, they'll actually recoup some of their costs by collecting and sharing your private data that you mask through their VPN. So they then essentially sell your browser history and personal data to help subsidize the cost of the quote-unquote free VPN. The best things in life aren't free, but apparently NordVPN is not an exception to some of the more basic problems as well. So they said that the breach was done by exploiting a vulnerability in one of their server providers. According to the statement, no user credentials have been intercepted. No other server on our network has been affected. The affected server does not exist anymore on the contract with the server provider, has been terminated. Which, I guess they're kind of putting it off on the service provider, but really, the buck stops with NordVPN. It doesn't matter that one of their servers was misconfigured, weak password or no password, and things like that. Which this article is leading me to believe that it was some kind of setup kind of issue. But hey, we'll find out. So they said that NordVPN told one of its data centers was compromised in March 2018. One of the data centers in Finland we are renting our servers from was accessed with no authorization. So they said, to make it worse, they have only revealed the hack after someone literally published their private key on Twitter. And in the private key, there's a public key and a private key. As soon as you get both, you get access to the entire thing. And hey, I guess NordVPN was hoping that they could sweep this under the rug. So the attacker exploited an insecure remote management system left by the data center provider, which was active for about a month. The company said that it was unaware that the system existed. The data center was based in Finland. Later, they disclosed that the data center provided was a Finnish company called, I'm not even going to try that one. The name of it is in the article if you want to check it out. It is a shame that the VPN provider, which claims to protect users' data, isn't aware about its data centers. But hey, they said in an email they had a problem with security, but because they do not take care of security by themselves, Nord was trying to put this on our shoulders. So there you go. Again, an attacker exploited an insecure remote management system left by a data center provider that was active for about a month, which leads me to believe one last time that there was little to no password management, and they were able to access this the server that really, as soon as you find it, you had access to it, and they had access to it for about a month. Yes, this is a problem with setup by this Finnish company, but NordVPN probably from now on, policies are made very reactively. You can certainly wish and hope and dream that this was something that should have been done beforehand, before anything wrong happened. But reactively, you can be sure from now on, I'm betting NordVPN is going to really, try to make sure that they're, really make sure that their servers are completely protected, and hopefully before they bring a new server onto the list of usable servers, they're going to penetration test each one. They're going to check them out, just to even just troubleshoot the very basics to make sure that none of them are vulnerable. A higher level of vetting of products, hopefully. So the server itself did not contain any user activity logs. None of our applications send user credentials for authentication, so usernames and passwords could not have been intercepted either. And by the way, all this is a quote. On the same note, the only possible way to abuse the web traffic was by performing a personalized and complicated man-in-the-middle attack to intercept a single connection that tried to access NordVPN. So they claim to have revealed the breach a few months ago, but they said that the breach was not disclosed because NordVPN wanted to be, quote, 100% sure that each component within our infrastructure was secure, end quote, and that no other server on our network has been affected. I can't just give NordVPN a pass on this. If I have to chew other companies out about this, NordVPN is going to get the same treatment. If your users are affected, and they say they weren't, so maybe I can give them a little bit of leeway there, but if their users are affected, they need to be very vocal as fast as they can so that people can go ahead and take the appropriate steps to protect themselves. Even if the user data is not compromised, or there's only a slim possibility that someone was compromised, they need to come out with this faster than 7 months, and not just because someone published a private key on social media that proved that they were indeed compromised. You need to get out ahead of the story, not try to cover it up and hope it goes away. I don't know how many times that's worked, because obviously the story would go away. But I can tell you how many times it hasn't worked, and that answer is a lot. It does not work well. It looks a lot worse for you, and though it may be a very short-term tarnish on your brand, especially for VPN to have problems with security, it looks even worse when you have problems with security that you are not upfront about. So they said that security researchers warned that the company was paying no attention to the larger issue of the attacker's possible access to the network. They said that your car was just stolen and you've taken on a joyride and you're quibbling about which buttons were pushed on the radio. They spent millions in ads, but apparently nothing on effective defensive security. The answer to this, again, is going to be penetration testing. Is going through server by server, and trust me, even though NordVPN, I'm sure, has access to 1,000 different servers, taking the time to actually test each and every one would probably be in their benefit. So the article wraps up by saying that some security researchers said it was hard to determine if the attackers obtained user data because of the company, but because the company does not collect logs of the server activity, which was actually their selling point. I think that the worst case scenario is that they could inspect traffic and see what kind of websites people were visiting. He said that the company was late to inform users about the 2018 breach, and that they had verified if their 5,000 had the same issue. So there you go. I wish they come out with it sooner. I wish they were more upfront about it. I wish that they did not act reactively to this. I still think NordVPN is a good, reliable product. It's almost like firing someone for messing up. It's like, why would you fire someone for messing up? I mean, the damage is done. And if nothing else, think of it as like an expensive training accident. They will be very sure never to do that one thing again. One would hope, of course. So there you go. 7 months data breach. They're finally on the ball about it. So there's that article. Let's go ahead and continue on here. I think our next story that we're going to do out of all these stories is Amazon. And I just heard some suspicious warnings about Amazon's choice. If you haven't heard about Amazon's choice, well, you're going to hear about it now. And while this is not exclusively about Amazon Choice, because this article has more to do with its Amazon's holiday toy list and kind of things to watch, I want you to keep this very, very, very close to your heart. The Amazon Choice, here's what I assumed was the Amazon Choice. I thought they were companies that Amazon partnered with. They were vetted products. Amazon was going to place them prominently in areas on their website that would drive more traffic. And because they were vetted by Amazon, hey, Amazon would see a bigger cut. The price would be a little bit lower because they could sell a larger volume of products. I thought that's how Amazon Choice worked. Turns out I was wrong. And this article came out a little while ago, but I will say that my understanding of how it works is that Amazon has this kind of automated system to do Amazon's Choice based on a couple of metrics. One of the biggest ones is the amount of products sold. But maybe even a bigger contributor is something that is so often faked. It's this idea that you can give fake reviews or buy fake reviews for products. And let's say if a product has 1,000 reviews, they're all 4 stars. That's great. But if there's a fake product or a worse product that gets fake reviews that has 10,000 reviews and they're all 5 stars, Amazon's Choice, instead of going about vetting, making sure that the product quality is up there and that kind of thing, instead it's going to go to the one with the fake reviews. There's not really all that much of a vetting process. And trust me, Amazon is definitely trying to get fake reviews off of its platform. But it's not working because some of those Amazon Choice, which by the way, get 3 times as much purchases as anything else in the category, or even the next closest in the category, be it for think about shoes or USB thumb drives or phone cases. That Amazon Choice spot is very coveted, but it's also prone to manipulation. So that's one thing I wanted to mention about Amazon. But this other article that we have, while not about people gaming Amazon, but rather potentially Amazon gaming people, this should be a surprise to no one. But if it is, I'm glad I could bring it to your attention. And I really want everyone to understand that advertising works in a lot of ways, and they don't have to be upfront with it 100% of the time. This next article is about Amazon charging for millions of products. Amazon's charging millions of dollars for products on its gift giving guide. This is not something fun or hokey that Amazon is putting out. Amazon's holiday toy list actually sold a lot of sponsorships. And that was by documents that were reviewed by Bloomberg. The more sponsors pay, the more products they can nominate to be on the list, and more prominently their own products will be featured on the popular website. Amazon aimed to sell at least $20 million in sponsorships for this year's list, the documents show. Amazon also published a summer toy list with lower sponsorship pricing. So this is something that Amazon will continue to do going forward. So obviously, Amazon doesn't mention that there are millions of dollars that they charge the toy industry just to be considered for a spot on the gift guide. So part of it's about merit, maybe, but a large part of it is, are you worth enough to play with Amazon? So obviously, it's perfectly legal for Amazon to sell advertising on its site. It becomes a problem when the world's largest online retailer tells shoppers recommendations are curated by experts, but don't disclose that, money gets into it from the toy industry. And because the consumers place more value on recommendations from independent sources, companies prefer to keep their financial involvement hidden. And I think that's it. People believe independent third-party reviewers, as they should. People with no skin in the game, they should be taken the most seriously. And that's why people who have already purchased the product and leave a review, that's why their comments and reviews are so important. But when it's experts who are clearly paid by one side or the other, it gets a little fuzzy. So Amazon likened the payments it received to the money brands pay to be included in advertising circulars or to get prominent shelf space. In an emailed statement, the company said, every product on our holiday toy list, which features family gifts ideas from new releases to customer favorites, is independently curated by a team of in-house experts based on a high bar for quality, design, innovation, and play experience. We source product ideas from many places, including selling partners who have the opportunity to nominate their best toys for the season and increase visibility for those toys. Which is marketing and PR speak for, yeah, it's pay to play. And that's just the way it's going to be. So some of the others that they mentioned here, Walmart charges toy makers $10,000 a month per product to appear on its buyer's picks toy list in November and December. And according to documents reviewed by Bloomberg, the company produces other lists, including top rated by kids, which uses feedback from children, so on and so forth. The article goes on for quite a bit here. But the point is, between Amazon, between Walmart, and really anywhere else, you could be shopping for toys or gadgets or gizmos. Trust me, even if it doesn't prominently display, and trust me, here on Computer America, we should probably address the obvious here. Here on Computer America, we're in radio. We have to explicitly state when we are sponsored by someone, when we are receiving any kind of money from anyone. We try to make that as fair and clear to you as possible. Like, obviously, we just interviewed Catalyst phone cases. No, we were not paid by them. We were sent products for review, but we did not receive any money from them. So something as simple as that, you can trust us that, hey, we may think highly of the product, but that's because we think highly of the product. Most other sources that are not radio or explicitly journalism or anything like that, trust me, there's a lot of hidden money that goes into, even though they're supposed to, there's a lot of payments that float around that, kind of circumvent the whole thing. So just keep an eye out. Keep it in your head that it's, even though it's advertising and advertising makes the world go round, some advertising you may not be consciously aware of. And just be cautious around Amazon because everything there is pay to play. So there's that article. I think we have time for one or two more. And I think our next one that we're going to do. Okay. How about the next one we're going to do? And I'm actually pretty interested in this because I like pizza. I know you're looking at the video portion and you're saying, Ben, there has never been a more obvious statement made in the history of ever. And I say, shut up. But I also say, Pizza Hut, yes, that company, is testing Zume's compostable round boxes. Ladies and gentlemen, pizza boxes are something that needed a revamp. I don't know if you know this, but obviously there's cardboard recycling plants and that's all well and good, but much of the cardboard for pizzas is actually not usable for recycling because of all the pizza grease and all the grossness that comes off of your pizza, off of your delicious pizza, actually makes it not suitable for recycling. It just goes into a landfill somewhere. That's a problem because Americans eat a lot of pizza. So this is why I'm excited. And hey, any kind of update to an old tradition, I'm all for. So this one from TechCrunch. Pizza Hut is testing Zume, not Zune. So Zune obviously is the failed MP3 player from Windows and Microsoft, but no, this is Zume, Zume. They're compostable round boxes. I'm down with it. Pizza Hut this morning announced plans to pilot Zume's signature round pizza boxes. Testing for now will be extremely limited. In fact, it's only happening in one location in Phoenix, Arizona. It's very small. But hey, so was the Impossible Burger. So let's continue on. They said that the boxes are one of a number of different technologies being pushed by the San Francisco-based startup. In fact, the author's recent conversation with the CEO of the company quickly turned to the subject of pizza boxes. And they said that we did internet searches for 2 weeks trying to find packaging companies that made different pizza boxes, and there really wasn't much out there. So he said, well, that's really weird. Okay, well, we're a startup. No one can tell us what the rules are. Why don't we just get a whiteboard and start drawing cool pizza box designs? So, pretty short article, but they said that, which is fair enough, and certainly there's a lot to be said for a product that's designed to be compostable, should it eventually be adopted by massive chains like Pizza Hut. So for now, however, it seems like the piloting is pretty limited in both time and scope, and the same location will also be used to test a limited edition plant-based sausage by Morningstar. Another attempt to get meatless meat out to the masses. Perhaps either or both of these will move beyond the limited publicity push. Certainly sustainable plant products and compatible packaging are steps in the right direction. But hey, who knows? Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't. I'm hoping we do. Pizza boxes are everywhere. They are not good for recycling. And overall, just kind of wasteful. So I'm hoping that we see a change in the packaging. And by the way, yes, I do want pizza. Send pizza. Our last article has to do with Elon Musk and Twitter. Well, I should say Elon Musk and SpaceX, because I know Elon Musk's Twitter gets him in hot water sometimes, but this is a good thing, I promise. Elon Musk tweets using SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet. So SpaceX CEO Elon Musk used an internet connection provided by his company Starlink constellation of broadband satellites early Tuesday a.m., saying that Musk used the network in place with the Starlink satellites already in orbit to send a simple tweet declaring that he'd done just that, which you can see here, simple as sending this tweet through space via Starlink satellite. Pretty cool. Starlink, if you aren't aware, obviously this is just a publicity just to kind of, get people talking about it again. But SpaceX has the intent to put up 30,000 miniature satellites into orbit. Think about that, 30,000 satellites into orbit just to be able to have some kind of basic internet functionality anywhere in the world. Like, you know how most satellite providers can barely get you a signal anywhere? Well, Elon Musk is hoping that by getting people onto Starlink, even in the most remote regions of Antarctica, the most remote regions of Africa, of South America, the Midwest, where there's just really not a lot of places, by having access to internet everywhere, even if it's just a very, very small amount, like even if it's just a trace amount of internet that can, in a worst case scenario, send out an SOS with some coordinates, you can get news and information, you can learn things, like even if you can't live stream or, stream Netflix, if it's just something, that's going to change the world that we live in, because at least that something makes it so that you're always connected. Yes, you can turn off your phone and get disconnected, but it's kind of like a safety blanket. So the company is making the preparations it requires to address very strong demand, it says. So it's looking down the road at how large the network of small satellites potentially has to grow in order to serve all potential customers. In May 2019, SpaceX sent up the first 60 operational satellites after launching a couple of prototypes last year. And yeah, they said that the satellites will work in tandem with ground stations that receive and convert the signal. So obviously, a lot more satellites have to go. They're like 60 into potentially 30,000, up from a previous plan 12,000. It could be even more. This can be a very good thing, and I'm looking forward to it. It's just, can SpaceX do it? They have all the tools. I mean, SpaceX runs, operates, owns, and routinely sends up satellites into orbit all the time. So why can't they do it for their own products as well? Everyone, the music in the background means that we are just about done. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Catalyst Case and Chris for joining us here on Computer America. If you miss any part of today's program, including that embarrassing section where I muted myself, check out the video portion, check out the podcast, check us out wherever podcasts are heard. Thank you for tuning into IRN, for listening to us live, and on top of that, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. We'll catch you here next time, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Everyone, we'll see you then. Bye, everyone.